Hari Om Shaka.
Hari Om.
Okay, we'll start now. Those who are online, they can keep on mute and repeat the chant. Ramya can chant aloud. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Sadashiva Samarambham
Sadashiva-samarambham
Shankaracharya Madhyamam
Shankaracharya Madhyamam
Asmadacharya Paryantam
Asmacharya-paryantam
Vande Guru Paramparam.
Vande Guru Paramparam.
Okay. So, what we have been seeing in the last few classes was the answer to who is the limitless self. Ko asal anatma. So, there were 7 questions asked by the student, and one of the question was who is this self, the limitless self? Ko asal anatma. So that anatma, paramaha ka atma. So that atma part, first the anatma part was explained. Now this limitless self is being explained. So in that context, the previous verse which we saw was Asti kaschit swayam nityam aham pratyaya lambanaha avasthatraya sakshi and panchakosha vilakshanaha. So whenever we try to give clarity about a particular object, not only we need to speak about that particular object, we have to speak about other things as well, which are not this particular object, but which are confused to be this. Maybe an example that probably I can give is in a kind of I think in medical situation people would have seen this. So each of us is not trained to understand how the tissues look and how veins look, and we will not cut every day some kind of a body and then see it. Only medical students normally do this. So if one happens to be taught as to how different tissues look, how different muscles look, one has to be shown. And if the idea is to arrive at a particular kind of tissue, if that is the subject to be taught on a particular day, they should also be told what are the other tissues other than this particular thing, first of all. So if you have 50 kinds of muscles and we want to show the student, for example, the 30th one, that's what is the class about. So that's the objective. It's not enough to just show how the 30th looks. You may also have to show them many more which may be looking very, very similar to that. So this is very important. That is when the person who's learning can learn it without defects. Otherwise, if you show only the 30th and in a subsequent opportunity, if you show 10 similar ones, he will go wrong. There's every possibility that that person may go wrong. So, in any kind of knowledge where one has to show a particular thing out of many, not only one has to discuss about that particular thing, they are forced to discuss about the other things also which are other than this particular item. So this is what is happening here also. There are so many components, and we saw that Vedanta reduces everything to 3 factors: One is world, one is self. As of now, it is taken as the body, mind, sense complex. One is the presupposed creator, the ultimate cause. So these three things. So it already kind of summarizes to these, and it has to further say, in the context of this limitless self, if one has to arrive at this limitless self, there has to be a method, and Vedanta has to talk, Shastra has to talk about, and it has to point out the not self as well, part as well, which is many times confused with the closest thing which is available next to it. That is the method that is being employed here. Here in this verse, Asti Kashchit Swayam Nityam. First of all, it is being said that there is definitely one thing that is self-existent, which doesn't depend on anything else. He is manifest all the time in the I thought. So when we invoke this I, automatically it is already there. Being distinct from the fivefold kosha. So the distinction is given here. He is the witness of the three states of experience. So what is said is, this entire physical function and psychological function as well as physiological functions of this body can be given in many models. So one of the model is five koshas, which will be explained later, and shariratraya and avasthatraya. So it is said that this I is separate from any of these things. So why this five kosha and avasthatraya is being pointed out? It is pointed out because these are the things where one can mistake this I to be. This is the reason the not I has to be always discussed. The one which is very, very proximate to I, where one commits a mistake of being that particular thing, has to be mentioned all the time. That's what is happening, and this you will see all the while when Atma is being discussed. So going to the next verse. So the next verse says, Yo vijanati sakalam jagrat swapna sushuptishu buddhi tad vritti sadbhavam abhavam ahamityayam. So very, very simple. It is in Sanskrit, so it may look very complicated, but then it is very simple. Yo vijanati sakalam. So Atma, the limitless self, is the one who knows everything. Sakalam, vijanati sakalam. So this is what that omniscience as a word I had used last time. Sarvajna. That is related to this. Yo vijanati sakalam, the one who knows everything. See, knowing is not a special effort. Okay? For example, if you take Wi-Fi, what you can say, network. In any network, when you go, you find this Wi-Fi network. So, Wi-Fi network, to some extent, you can say, will identify all the computers which are connected to it. In this case, it is Wi-Fi network's nature. It is Swarupa and its Prakriti to automatically know and recognize the computers which are there. Now, it's not a different function, it's not a distinct function. That's what it is for, kind of. That's how it just happens to be that way. So, self also, in the sense of omniscience, has to be understood that way. It is its nature. It's not the action of knowing. It is just its nature that knowing is, the concept of knowing itself is of the self only. So, if you happen to crack that Wi-Fi, and maybe if there is an administrator, he can go and see how many laptops or how many desktops were connected to the Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi will also know which all websites were browsed using those laptops, those instruments and mobile, because that is how there is also a control that is laid out based on this information only. So the Wi-Fi has access to all this information. So if you can just extrapolate this to the situation of Sarvagyatva. Sarvagyatva is not a conscious act. It is the nature of consciousness. It's the nature of Atma. So that part has to be understood very clearly. There is no conscious action. In fact, Swamiji, says when Vishnu is presented as the sustainer. In the context of that, one question, he himself would raise this question. Vishnu is shown as a person who is in Ananta Shayana. Ananta Shayana is just sleeping in that position. He is shown many a times. That's also one of the main posture in which we see Sri Ranganatha, Vishnu. Why is he shown that way? Is it like he is on a holiday and he is given the deputation to someone else to sustain the world at that time? So one can think of this. So Swamiji says that it is his nature to sustain. So it is not that he has to take efforts to sustain the world like the way we go to office every day and then start the work from there. So it doesn't work that way. Vishnu is the sustainer, means sustenance is Vishnu. Simple. So similarly, these are functions. When knowing is said, that is Brahma plus Vishnu plus Shiva, Avo in Om. So beyond that, okay? So at that level, at Nirguna Brahma level or Atma, when Atma is being discussed, both are the same. That's the reason you will find the properties to be seen. So at this level, when knowing is said, knowing is not like you wear a kind of goggle, or you wear a kind of specs, or you use a telescope and then you know. No. Self doesn't require any other instrument other than itself. It doesn't require any instrument. And it is not an instrument by itself also. It is just the concept of knowing is what makes self. That's why the word consciousness you will see later, Chit. The word Chit is used because that's the only thing which can recognize, that is the only thing which has this cognitive skill. If at all there is a cognition, the word cognition or cognitive ability, it is the property of the self, and it is the intrinsic nature of self, not a developed attribute. So Lord cannot have cognitive skills and he cannot improve his cognitive skills. Cognition, the very cognition from whatever 0 to infinity band is himself. So this is how it has to be understood. So omniscience is not like, yes, I know what he's thinking, I know what this person is going to do next, or I know what this gentleman did in the past. That's not omniscience. Omniscience is not with respect to any particular thing. Omniscience is the concept itself of knowing continuously. If you have to see how this is, what I am saying here, how is it related to the verses, I'll come back to it in a few minutes. So, yo vijanati sakalam. So, vijanati sakalam has to be understood very, very clearly. Jagrat swapna sushuptishu. Here, the limitless Atma is being spoken about. The Atma part, which is more the closest one, is what is being discussed here. So, Jagrat swapna sushuptishu. So, yo vijanati sakalam. In this case, the reference is pointed out to Jagrat swapna sushuptishu. So, there are 3 states. Again and again, I think we have to keep repeating this. We have to assimilate this concept well. So, Jagrata Avastha is waking state, Swapna Avastha is dream state, and Sushupti Avastha is dreamless sleep state. So, later this will also come. During Jagrata Avastha, the body which is there is called Vishwa, and during Swapna Avastha, the body which is available, it is called Vishwa Taijasa. And the third one, Sushupti Avastha, that corresponding body is given the name Prajna. So these are the 3 names, the corresponding names given to these states. The body related to these states is given this. This will also come later. One can just keep a note of this. So this self, as we are awake, we are self-aware. I mean, we know that yes, we have this body. We always say, my head is aching. So if I say my head is aching, this my is different from this head. Okay. So the possessor is different from the possessed all the time. It's just simple. It's even grammar. Okay. And forget alone grammar, it's one's own experience. One can very clearly say this. So last time we were saying, when I say my pen, I am not the pen. When I say my t-shirt, I am not the t-shirt. When I say my body, I am not the body. This I has to be separate to differentiate itself and say that body is its possession and not, it is not the body. So the grammar itself says that actually, but we do not bring this knowledge consciously every time when we transact or when we are with ourselves also, most of the time. But everyone understands this, that one possesses the body and body is different from oneself because we are self-aware. So this Atma witnesses Jagrata Avastha. So very clearly it is saying. Then second, this also witnesses Swapnavastha. In Swapnavastha, what is happening? This gross body is stable, it is just sleeping, and the subtle body, which is basically mind plus many other things, mind, memory, all this stuff, buddhi. So these operate and they create their own senses and sense objects. So while we are sleeping, we are not operating eyes, ears, all this skin, touch, feeling, any of taste, none of these things we are operating from the gross body perspective. We don't borrow any of these things. Mind is enough to create. Mind has the capacity to create this world, and it creates sense organs as well as sense objects to enjoy the world. Okay, it creates and enjoys that world. Enjoys or suffers, whatever it is, it does that actually. It experiences the world which it creates. So mind has the ability to do this, and while mind is doing this, there is one invariable which is witnessing that state also. As much as one was saying it was my body, so my is different from this body. Similarly, I had dream. So if I am having a dream, if I had the experience of dream, this I has to be different from this dream. So I is the possessor or experiencer. Dream was basically the experience itself, right? So these two have to be separate. So the witness also witnesses the dream state. So witness was witnessing the waking state. The witness also witnesses the dream state. Now we go even subtler. So the third state is Sushupti. This is an amazing thing. If at all there is a kind of external input coming from Shastra, this is definitely a very important input. Everyone would undergo this experience, but they may not link it to this concept of self-awareness, what is this self, or whatever, in terms of understanding the concept better. One may not normally dwell on this part. One gives importance to this Sushupti only because Shastra is pointing out. That's how it is. It's a spoon feeding, you can say. So, Sushupti is a state where one has no dream. This part has to be understood very clearly. If someone has not gone through this state any time, I only wish that they undergo this state, because Vedanta becomes much more easier if that experience is available, because it is a first-hand experience. Right? For that, definitely you can pray, because that experience is going to help one in the progress of this study, in this inquiry as well. That data, that experience is going to definitely help. So Shukti is a state where dream is not there, because that mind and buddhi which can create a dream world, it is resolved. That antahkarana is completely resolved. He is gone to sleep. So when this person also sleeps, it is not that only the gross body is sleeping, even the subtle body is sleeping. It's gone completely to sleep. To an extent, it is completely resolved, almost like, that you are in anesthesia. So that kind of a level. So that is where, if you see, the real rest happens only at that time. Most of the times you would have experienced this, that when you have so much of dreams, whether it is, likable or dislikable, but you will still feel that you have been, working all the way, and there will be some kind of a stress. That ultimate sense of de-stressing would not be there. But if you don't have dream and if you have sleep, which is absolute sleep, even if it was for 15 minutes or half an hour, you will feel that you are completely, out of stress, and you have amazing freshness. So that's what makes the difference when subtle body is given rest. Ideally, gross body alone doesn't need rest. Even subtle body needs rest. So when it picks up such a kind of rest, that's when you do not dream at all. Now, subtle body is normally the one which transacts with the world. So it is mind and buddhi which transacts with the world. Of course, using the strength of this I. All this, basic power comes from I only. That's a different thing. But the immediate transactor is this mind and buddhi. So when mind and buddhi they resolve, world is also resolved along with it. For that particular moment, it is resolved because world and mind they coexist. If mind sleeps, world goes off only for this jiva and only for that time. When you wake up, it is like hibernation, not a complete shutdown. So you know this concept of hibernation in computer, where if you just hibernate or sleep, things, all the screens what you have seen, they'll all just kept hibernated for some time. And when you start again after 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, or for 20 days also, those screens which were open, they will just open seamlessly, and you can see that world what you are seeing earlier also. This is what happens. So you go to sleep, from your own mind, hibernation happens, mind comes up, all the screens are available for us to see. So this is what happens. So this deep sleep state has to be inquired a lot. Now, when mind is the one which normally understands these things, yes, I am awake, I am sleeping, all these things mind says in Antahkarana. That is very important actually. If mind has resolved and mind has gone to sleep, then who is accounting saying I had good sleep? Who is the one who is witnessing? So this witnesser has to be different from mind. So mind is a karana which is either working or not working, active, resolved. It has got different states. But there is one invariable. This is this I. This invariable, you can call it Atma, whatever. That invariable has to identify that yes, this mind was resolved, I didn't have dream, and I had an amazing sleep. This recollector, though mind says when it wakes up, but the one who witnessed was someone who was other than mind. So this subtle knowledge is very much important, and you have to dwell on this point a lot. So this is very important. So in Sushupti, mind is resolved, but still one can make out that he had an amazing sleep without dream. And one beautiful thing is in that Sushupti state is also that time and space experience, they are gone. In world, time and space are very important, and everything is relative to time and space. Okay, size is related to the spatial concept. Now then, these words are related to time concept. So if you see, put anything, write a paragraph, and you can just organize these words into which of them actually indicate time and which of them indicate space. So you write a paragraph, automatically you will be finding out there are 10 words which is basically on the concept of space, and these are 10 words which is on the concept of time. So the entire world goes with these two parameters only. When you have deep sleep, both these parameters are resolved. That's why I was saying world is resolved when mind is resolved. And when world is resolved, these two basic concepts which always go parallel to this world, crux of this world is time and space. Both these are resolved. They are not experienced because mind is completely resolved. But the witness, being the one who is the invariable, can help mind recollect that mind had gone to sleep. So, when, for example, you are given anesthesia, before anesthesia is administered, you know everything what had happened. But after anesthesia is given, you would not know what happened during that time. So that's the purpose also for which it is given. When you wake up, all those things, that one has to account for, basically is that you are that ultimate who knows everything. That witness is always there. But immediately we can give one more idea also, is that someone around you says that, okay, you slept for this long. So someone else has to witness that. Right? That's just an example I'm giving. It may not be exactly this, perfect example, because for Atma you can never get perfect example, because there is only one thing. You can only go near to that concept, never there actually. So none of the words can actually define God, because God is all words. So give the entire dictionary, that is God. But that may also be not enough, because it will be only in one language. Give all the dictionaries, that would be Lord. So this is how you can think about that ultimate actually. So Atma is that ultimate. So Sushupti has to be really analyzed, and it is one's own experience. So it is not a borrowed knowledge. Shastra is not giving any kind of a pep talk to to reinforce positive thinking. It doesn't do anything. Shastra has no business of talking something other than facts. Shastra is only pointing out to one's own experience, and it is asking a person to analyze one's own experience and mature from there, pick up the concepts from there. So the point being driven here is that this I is a witness of Jagrata Avastha, Swapna Avastha, and also Shushupti Avastha. So Shushupti Avastha witness is an amazing thing to have. So that one has to understand. That is what is mentioned here. Yo vijanati sakalam Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu Buddhi Tadvritti Sadbhavam Abhavam Avamityayam. So I already explained that. Buddhi Tadvritti. So all this mind and intellect, the thoughts, presence of thoughts, as well as absence of thoughts. See, if you take the game of cricket, okay, there's one person who's always there in the field, but he doesn't participate in the game actively. But without him also game doesn't happen. So any guess from people here? You can unmute and say.
Empire.
Absolutely. Oh, cricket, I think, invokes interest in everyone in any case. It's a common thing to be used. Very nice. Thanks, Mildi. So, you have this umpire. Okay? Umpire doesn't participate. Shikaji.
सर मनीष सर जो आपने एक्सप्लेन किया कि दैट दिस स्टेट वेयर everything gets resolved or you go into a state. So you took an example of anesthesia. So anesthesia is an artificially they introduce you to that stage. Is that you have no pain, nothing, and your senses are there, your body is still working, but you have gone into a state where you are not, there is absolutely no feeling. Is that the state what we are talking about?
Which state?
So when we spoke about Sushupti Avastha,
it's very close to that. It's very, very close to that. That's the only example we can give of Sushupti. See, in Sushupti, you are totally cut off. You just don't know who you are. That's a beauty. In Sushupti, that's the reason, in that people actually should have undergone this experience. Only then it will, they can relate to what I'm saying. I've undergone this experience, so I can say that. Okay? And it becomes very personalized. Experiences are always personalized. It will normally not help others to understand what one is trying to say. I may say in as many words, but it may still not occur to the other person 100%. Luckily, everyone undergoes this, Sushupti. I hopefully think so, because Shastra is talking about it and it should be a wider experience. Maybe someone can say who has never undergone this Sushupti experience anytime. Dreamless sleep. Amongst this 5-7, if not. Yeah, Milady.
always happens dreamless sleep.
I don't know whether it is that avastha, but at times when you just wake up and you realize that where am I, what day is it, you're completely lost.
Yes.
That has happened. I mean, I have experienced that, but I don't know whether it is what
It is.
you are mentioning.
It is absolutely. I said two things. In Sushupti, you forget location, you forget time. Time and space are gone. That's the reason. Exactly these two things only you said. When you woke up, you said that you didn't know where you are or where you were before you
Correct.
slept. So you are still trying to locate yourself. So in that Sushupti, location concept is gone, and you're trying to really understand when you're waking up. See, normally when we go to sleep, we remember the location where we are sleeping. We know that it's either in our bedroom or maybe in our guest room or in a hotel or in a guest house. We normally
Right.
know this because waking avastha we have registered this. If it is during dream, mind is still kind of active. It will still keep that information. No, it is not cut off. But if you go to Sushupti, you are completely cut off actually. So when you have to come from that state to waking up state, it's a kind of long gap to bridge or long lack of information to bridge. So that's the experience, and what you said was point on actually, bang on. So time and space concepts are resolved. That's what I meant when I said time and space concepts are resolved. How long one slept is not very clear. Where was he sleeping is not clear. What was his size of the body is not clear. Who was he is also not clear. This last one is unfortunately the one which differentiates the state of moksha from sushupti. If the last question was answered, like who one is, if that was known, then it would have been turiya. Later we will come to this concept, but that is turiya. You have to indicate another state, right? Between this Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. These are three states which is mentioned. If one has to say another name for an enlightened state, then they have to use some name, right? That name is turiya. You will see it later. So in turiya, not only we will know that we are beyond this time and space, we will also know who we are. Positively, you will know who we are also. So that's the amazing thing. That you are chit basically. You will know that actually as a first-hand information. So that's what happens there. That small information differentiates Sushupti with Moksha. Someone is raised hand.
Yes,
Marichi, is it you?
yes, this is me, Bhaskarji.
Yes, Shekhaji.
Yeah, Bhaskarji, now like when we talk about moksha, that's a different level altogether. But the example that we just took, that, when we get up kind of, not aware of where we are, and that kind of time and space is lost, that is also said to be a state where one is completely confused. If I talk about this to a doctor, that when I wake up, I'm so confused. Where am I? I've lost that timing. Now the doctor will say that yes, you are stressed out. That is why you have no awareness of where you are, where you went to sleep. So isn't this confusing that for the doctor that is stress, and when we talk about this, it is something different?
The last part what you brought out is very important. The word stress is very, very important. Okay? Absence of stress is one of the main attributes in this. No amount of counseling can give you this kind of a de-stressing. No amount of Ayurvedic massage can give you this kind of a de-stress as Sushupti can give. So along with those two things which Milati just now said, where you lose the concept of time and space, you are kind of little disoriented, but you can recollect quickly after you wake up. Okay, I'm here, and you look at the watch and then say, oh fine, I slept for 11 good hours, I didn't know. Or you just slept only for half an hour, but you're looking as though, kind of quite long, whatever it is. So you just can't believe. You cannot exactly measure it. That's what it means. Along with this, that's a complete, de-stressing feeling. That also comes. So if it was stressful, it was only stressful because intermittently there was this kind of, mind coming to play. That's the only reason that stressful experience would be there. Otherwise, it also has this accompaniment of de-stressing experience in Sushupti. Sushupti is like that actually. That's how it is. So in that case, you will not even have this doubt to go and validate with anyone else. because you will feel so fresh. So you feel so fresh actually. That's what, when mind kind of rests, this kind of de-stressing and refreshing feeling happens.
Okay.
So that's also one's own experience. You can validate that from your own experience. Others need not even validate that. So that would be my answer to this. And it's very personal experience, right? And mostly when people talk about it, they have this common language when they say this. So whenever they may put this in as many words, but most of the time, they will touch these three things. One is that they didn't know how long they slept, and they were not aware where they were sleeping, on the bed or on the floor, flying, absolutely no idea. And the third one will be, it was an amazing experience. That's what it comes out. That's the reason the word Ananda, Anandamaya. So in Panchakosha, the same Shariratraya and Avasthatraya can be categorized into 5 koshas. Just another way of looking at it, that's all. In that, the Anandamaya kosha corresponds to Sushupti Avastha. The name Anandamaya is given because one is so happy. So happy. In that avastha, I want to mention in this context, in that avastha, you have everything that is related to moksha, only minus one thing. You just do not know who you are. That's the only thing. That information is not very clear. Otherwise, in terms of the world not being there available to you, because the moment you have Dvaita, you have world, then you have to relate, and you have to get up and make a coffee or tea for whosoever you relate with, or you have to drink the coffee or tea which other prepares for you. So all this starts. So everything starts the moment world is available, because you become a transactor. And keeping quiet also can create problems in samsara. Even if you don't transact, come on, I see better at Amrisha. This can happen. So the moment you wake up, when world is available, you are gone. That's how it is. So in Sushupti, world is not there, automatically stress is not there. You don't have to give coffee to anyone because there is no one available next to you. And you don't need to drink the coffee prepared by other person because other person is not available to you. So neither this way, no karta, no bhokta. This is what happens there. We don't have a problem. The world is gone. Yeah.
Yes,
Please.
Manish. Sir, this Sushupti can happen in, like, when you reach to a stage, when you can be into a Sushupti stage, even when you are waking up?
That is Turiya, when you understand who you are. The last one question, no, I said.
Okay.
That's the only thing which is missing in Sushupti. See, what is happening there is, you do not know who you are, you do not know what's your size, you do not know where you are located, you do not know how long you slept. So these are all the things. So almost mind is completely resolved. However, you do not have the right identity. See, wrong identities are gone. The problem we have normally is, this I is intermingled with this gross body when we are awake, and it is intermingled with the subtle body when we are dreaming. In the third one, there, mingling kind of a thing kind of is not happening, but at the same time, it is kind of identifying with the, that state, you can say, but it doesn't have this real knowledge of what it is actually, or what this I is. That knowledge is not there. Yeah, I am this. Oh, I was this squirrel. If you have this idea, that's okay, but that's not the case. No, it's not there at all. So, moksha is a state where one very clearly knows, this is what I am. See, one has to be having this identity very clear, right? I mean, if you are walking into the field, again coming back to cricket, you should know which side you are, participating for, either India or Pakistan. One has to be very clear. Otherwise, transaction becomes a problem. It will be very confused. So one has to basically know who that person is. So that information is not available in that state of Sushupti. However, the other wrong identification are gone. And you can imagine, when the wrong identification is gone, you have Ananda. And you can imagine if that itself is Ananda, so what would be when you have the right identity? You have to give another one, Paramananda. That's all. So Sushupti works this way. So coming back to our cricket example, this umpire is the one who is always there when the game is happening, and he is the one who's available when, for example, a player goes retired hurt, he's available, or when a player is playing, buddhi tadvritti sadbhavam, when everything is happening, he is available, and when all these guys have gone out for drinks, supposing this gentleman is not having his own drinks as well, then he is available. He sees the field without cricketers, he sees the field with active cricketers and cricket going on, and when someone is kind of injured and that person is unconscious, for him, he may not be able to objectify the umpire, but this umpire can objectify this gentleman who's kind of unconscious. So to some extent you can say the witness always work like this, and the witness is the invariable. Just imagine now when someone hits a shot and the umpire catches it. That becomes a problem, right? It should be a cotton bowled by the bowler. I mean, this guy should not either stop a 4 or 6 or catch. He should not be participating in that. Then it will become a chaos. So the witness never participates in any of these things, but based on the witness only everything happens. So it's something you can have as an idea. Did anyone raise hand? Abhika ji, want to ask a question? Abhika ji, you want to ask?
Sir, I have experienced this eye, but you are saying, sir, I have experienced what you are saying about this eye, because this is the word which I'm experiencing for 2-3 years. Like I'm speaking in front of you, and I know it very clear that I'm perfectly all right. I'm all right, and my language. The problem is in my body. Like there's a problem in communicating, but me as a person, there's no problem, because I know which word to say. It is different from the body.
You have to be only careful when you are saying that. So we have gross body, and we have subtle body, and we have causal body. These are 3 bodies.
So what I'm saying is
and the eye is a witness to all these things. So that eye is separate from all these 3. So it's possible sometimes when we are saying, we may be linking up with this subtle body also. I'm just pointing it out, that's all. Otherwise what you're saying may be absolutely true, because it's something very personal.
This problem is due to my brain hemorrhage, right? This is the problem I'm facing, is because of the brain hemorrhage, the voice problem, the way of speaking, or the, dekhna word, the same problem. But inside, there is something, apart from all these, there is something which is different, like from my physical body, and which is perfect.
Absolutely fine. So if that's the status, it's a nice status to be in. So you should just continue to be in. That's it. So I understand what you're saying. So what you're saying is that cognitively you know what it is, but when the delivery happens, there can always be a kind of defect, so-called defect from the normal parlance. So, but the cognition is perfect. That's what you're saying. Yes, that's a nice information. That's fine. So coming back to Sushupti. So it's good that we had this nice discussion about Sushupti. So next time when you have this Sushupti experience, please dwell on that. When you get up, dwell on that actually. It will be very useful. So this I is set to witness all these states, and definitely being a witnesser, being a witness, it is separate from all this. It is not rolled and mixed into any of these things actually. So that's what is pointed out here. We'll go to the next verse. Yaha pashyati swayam sarvam yam na pashyati kaschana yas chetayati buddhyadi na tadhyam chetayatyayam. So this witnesses everything. Swayam. So it doesn't require this I, this Atma, doesn't require the help of a microscope or a telescope or any kind of a scope. There is no scope actually, if you see. So it doesn't require any of these things because it doesn't have any defect actually. So it can just witness effortlessly. It is its swarupa. It doesn't require anything more for it to witness. No camera, nothing it requires actually. Swayam Sarvam. That's the reason. Swayam means that's what it's swarupa. It just witnesses everything by itself. Yam na pashyati kaschana. So this is very important actually. Other things cannot objectify this. That is very important actually. This is the Atma who sees all by himself without any aid, but whom none sees. So, in the previous verse we saw this Atma objectifies or witnesses. The objectifies word is also very important. So, objectifies is, you don't become a subject. So, objectifying, standing out, witnessing anything other than yourself. That is what is objectification. So, being objective to the situation is, you're just objective, you don't become subjective. For example, if one's own relative is in the witness box, or he's been alleged that there's some allegation on him, and if one happens to be the judge, he or she should not bring the subjectivity saying, oh, he's my relative and I have to be little empathetic to this gentleman, little bit more than others. So that should not be there. You have to be as objective as you would be to others. So that objectivity is in this sense, and it's very useful in Vedanta. People should remember this, and this word will be repeating many times. So, while this Atma can objectify all the Shariratraya, Stula Shukshma Karana Shariras, and also Avasthatraya, Swapna Jagrata Sushupti, while it can do, none of these things can objectify this I. It is not that body can say, oh, whoa, the other day I saw this eye, just traveling here and there, and I could see the other person's eye. It doesn't work this way actually. This is that eye which is everywhere. Something which you want to see is everywhere, okay, cannot be definitely accounted for by eyes, because even in our own anatomy, we are provided eyes only on the front side. So as we talk about seeing, we are able to see only this side of the dimension. Okay, we don't have eyes behind us, so that's the reason we need the rear view mirror. Okay, so already we have this defect. So if someone says, I've seen the eye of another person, this eye we are talking about is the totality. So totality, this eye, Karana, cannot see, because which side you will give the telescope? You need a telescope which can show you all directions at one time. So if you even find a camera which can give you all directions at one time, you will not be able to make out anything out of it. It will be very often like, all these, medically illiterate people. Like at least some of us, I don't know who is a doctor here. So if you're not a medical doctor, we can just not make anything out of this X-ray or this USG. No matter how many times you may be going through that, you will never know what is that they are talking to say. Many times I have this doubt actually. Did they really make out something out of this? And am I really sure that they are able to make out something out of it? So this is what the kind of experience is. Even when you see an established thing like USG, film, at least I can't make out anything. Somewhere they can show the stone here and there, size of kidneys, this, that, liver. To some extent you can understand. What is there next to it? They will say there is an inflammation. You can't even understand what that is actually. So even in perception, we can't make out things very easily. Those that can be perceived. Not to say about this I, which is totality. So one cannot say that, oh wow, I've seen this person and he has this I, and I could locate his eye very nicely and differentiate it from his Shariratraya. This doesn't work this way. Never even try to do that. This I is for recognizing one's own I, not others' I. Because people will just put, this concept and say, fine, we have 4 things. One is this witness and Shariratraya, 3. 1 plus 3. So if I am 1 plus 3, the other person is also 1 plus 3, which is what Shastra says, then I should be able to see that one of the other person, because the 3 part also a little confusing. 1 and 2 to some extent you can see, 3 itself becomes a little difficult. That 4 completely becomes very difficult actually. So you can't say that I am now witnessing the eye of the other person. This eye is not available for witnessing by anything. Because in common parlance, witnessing for us ideally means using Stula Sharira or Sukshma Sharira. Because Karana Sharira, in Karana Sharira, the mind completely goes to rest. So, if that is the state, you need mind actually to kind of see something in the common parlance. So, it is not even available, forget even the Karana Sharira. But normally when someone says that I see or I see this, sometimes they may say cognitively, but sometimes, most of the times, people use this perception as the basis. So, from that sense, this I is not available for perception by any sense organ or any extended sense organs. It is just not available. That's what is mentioned. Yam na pashyati kaschana. This can witness everything, whereas nothing can witness this. This is what is mentioned there. Sorry. No, I had a notification. I think it's a WhatsApp notification. No, I thought someone raised a hand here. That's not the case. Okay. Yash chetiyati buddhyadi na tadyam chetiyatyayam. So, this I is the one which illuminates the mind, but whom the mind does not illuminate. Okay. So, just like that, this I can witness everything, but nothing can witness this I, in the sense of, the sensory perception only. And this is the one which illuminates everything. Illuminates means what? You have bulb, okay, in which the glass is fine and the tungsten filament is fine, and the power connection in terms of wires is also fine. Sthula Sukshma Karana Sharira, for example. Take this as a kind of example. However, if power is not there, this is not going to work. Okay? So, this I is the one which activates everything. And one should not ask, okay, so then what happens to dead body? Is I not there? No, I is definitely there. One has to understand how this body functions. Body functions with the help of Sukshma Sharira, okay? And causal body is the one which stores the impressions of different births. And that's what is like, the subscriber account, which goes from one body to another. Sukshma Sharira is very, very important thing for keeping the body alive in the sense of what we understand. Okay, that's where this prana comes into picture. When we understand the Panchakosha, that would be clear, but I can also introduce it here. So this prana, Pancha Prana, is what, it's energy actually. It keeps the body, running. So that energy only, like you can imagine Sthula Sharira to be the hardware and Sukshma Sharira to be the software, you can say. So to that extent, Pancha Prana helps this body live. When this Pancha Prana work is not happening, completely utility kind of an equipment, you can say. If the Pancha Prana is not working, automatically body cannot function, because body is so limited actually. It needs certain conditions for it to thrive. So when Pancha Prana is not working, prana goes out, is what is said actually, then body becomes dysfunctional. To that extent, immediately you can say prana is the one which is enlivening the body. But prana itself depends on the ultimate existence of I for its own existence. So this is the reason it is said, this I illuminates everything, all the three bodies, not only the Sthula Sharira, all the three, it illuminates, and in turn, nothing can illuminate this I. It will be like, to some extent you can say, sun can illuminate everything, whereas you don't need a torch to see the sun. The sun, light means it is only sun. The concept of light is sun. There is no other light other than that light. That is the only light in which everything else is objectified. Whereas other things cannot objectify sun. So to some extent you can say that example can be used. And examples will always have a limitation because, as I said, that ultimate is beyond words. We can only try to give as many words to remove confusions as much as possible, which is what Shastra is doing. So here it says, this witnesses everything, nothing can witness this. This illuminates everything, nothing can eliminate this. So, this is about Atma. Further words we will see in the next session. We have 5 minutes. I open this forum for questions. Anyone can ask any questions from any concept which you didn't understand, please go ahead. Yes, Narenji.
I had one question. When an enlightened person is there, does he have a mind or he doesn't have a mind?
Nice question, actually. Otherwise, you will think you are going to mindless guy to learn. see, it's a good question. See, it's very important to bring out doubts. Actually, it's very, very important. It's a pertinent question. See, it's like this: that Swarupa happens to be unattached. That I happens to be unattached. It has its own independent existence. This is what you learn as a first-hand information when you kind of go to the next level of Vedanta, to the Aikya part. This is what you understand. But that doesn't mean that your body, mind, everything is burnt down. You don't need to burn down everything to understand your ultimate. For example, see, these things come later as an example, but then they can be used in the context. So I can bring those examples here. See, is wave the ocean? We have ocean and we have waves in that. Are waves the ocean only or not? Correct?
Yes.
Now,
You are saying water and ocean, waves.
Now, for ocean to know that wave is itself only, does it need to go to any class?
No.
So, it exists just by itself. And all problems in terms of names and forms just resolve. And mind, though it has all the capacity to indulge into worldly things, in the case of a Jivan Mukta, the name is Jivan Mukta. What you are asking, the realized person is given the name Jivan Mukta. Okay. So, while he is transacting, it is the same mind which has been given this enlightenment also, that mind is a part of this gross world, which is my possession. So definitely it cannot create a problem for me. So in the Nitya Vastu and Anitya Vastu basket, as we go in this inquiry, mind is put into the Anitya Vastu basket. So Stula Sukshma Sharira, all the Shariras are thrown into the bin of Anitya Vastu. And you obtain Nitya Vastu not as an apple in your hand, you obtain Nitya Vastu as yourself by giving out all the other wrong identifications which you normally have, which one normally has. Those are forced to be given up by the help of Shastra through that method, and one just obtains oneself in this pursuit. Nothing else is happening. And that self was always available all the way till now. It is just that there is some confusion, and Shastra has to only nullify these confusions. It need not create this self and give you saying, now take this self and carry on now. It is not like that. It is only showing, boss, you are a little confused. Please understand, anything that you possess is not yourself. Is it not right? It begs actually. Is it not right? Is it not common sense? Then one says, if I say it is mine, me is different from mine. Yeah, I understand. It just uses this concept and says all that, lists out all that which is this mind category. So mind category has to be definitely discussed. This is what is Anitya, Anatma, to separate this me from this. And why? Because we have accumulated so much of mind entangled into this me, and which is what we have to de-entangle. This is what we need to do. That's why Shastra is coming and pointing out saying, boss, remove this, remove this, remove this, remove this, remove this, remove this. Now you don't have to remove anything. Whatever is remaining is you. And again, next question will be, oh, you said I am everything. Then now, all that removed, where are they? That they are all you only. Simple. They are all in you only. So that's what happens actually.
So that identification is not there.
wrong identification is not there. So
Right.
you understand yourself to be everything. Every possible thing what is here is oneself. So this is what happens actually. That's the reason the question doesn't arise for him saying, oh fine, do I have a mind or not? Is a mind problem for me? No. Because the person had ignorance only in his mind, which is what is enlightened by Shastra, by removing ignorance, by removing the wrong concepts. Now he has a clear mind, okay, which is his possession only, it is not him. He's very clear. So mind basically gets the deal of getting rid of ignorance. If at all anyone gets a deal, this I never gets any deal because I is always the case, it's never affected by anything. That's why space comes as an amazing example. You may have a pot of liquor, you may have a pot of amrita. Pots can have image. Oh wow, I have been used to keep liquor, whereas the next pot is being used to keep amrita. So the inhibition can be there. All these problems, opinion, issues can be there only for the pot, not for the space. Space is not affected by the content in the pot. So Ghatakasha, these concepts come later, but then I think I can introduce them here in the context of this question. So you have Ghatakasha, you have Mahakasha. Okay? Mahakasha we understand to be the total space, and Ghatakasha comes as a context only because there is Sharira. When clay is modified into pot, a Sharira comes into existence. That's where in out all these concepts come into place. So what is inside has to be given a name. That's why it is called Ghatakasha. So is there a difference between Ghatakasha and Mahakasha? Is there a difference?
No.
Anyone feeling there's a difference? Okay. So there's absolutely no difference. The difference is with respect to the boundary which mind perceives. Whereas space can never be bound. It was only Mahakasha. In that Mahakasha, you have some kind of a stuff which is seemingly kind of creating another small space with an identification. The problem is with this identification and limitation, whereas Mahakasha could never be contained in one container. At the same time, is this container having space in it? The concept in it? Yes, it is. That is true. But has it borrowed or has it cut out? Like if you take this birthday cake, you give the first piece to the person who's celebrating birthday, the cake is minus that first piece now. That doesn't work that way in space. In space, an object is there, it cannot cut the space like empty space already is kind of space which is kind of, you can say, empty, but it's not empty, it is a bhuta. It is not abhuta, it is a bhuta. Bhuta means something is existing. It's one of the Pancha Mahabhuta. That's an amazing thing. So you can't cut space and create more emptiness in there actually. So space is something which accommodates all. That's the name given, that's a root actually. Avakashi yati iti akasha. That which accommodates all is akasha. This is the name given in Sanskrit. So when that is the kind of sarva vyapatva, that sarva vyapatva helps something seemingly existing to exist. But it is never affected in this process because even where that pot is, where the clay is, it is spaces, and inside space, inside that particular pot, whatever space is, belongs to space. Outside that, in any case, space is there. So while this space has given an opportunity for a confusion to exist, but it doesn't get confused in this particular stuff because of whatever has come about. So Mahakasha remains Mahakasha, Ghatakasha remains a temporary status, but Mahakasha is all the way, was there, is there, will be there. This is what one has to understand, and that's the reason I'm a fan of this space actually. Always I use this space as an example. That's what helped me in my realization, my understanding actually. Space is as close to the Lord, the concept of God. As I said last time, three things are very important. We will dealt this concept even later. Sarvagyatva, Sarvashaktiman, and Sarvavyapatva. So, being everywhere at the same time, being all potential, wherein you can just hold everything in terms of strength, and being all knowing. That Wi-Fi example what I gave, no? Seamlessly it will know, this is the laptop, this is what. It is just its nature, no conscious effort. So that's what cognition is all about. And if you see, the same thing happens in Jiva. We are able to witness everything seamlessly. We are able to witness Jagrata Avastha, Swapna Avastha, Shushupti Avastha. Quite simple. It's just able to witness everything because its nature is to witness. It always witnesses. So that's the beauty. So space lacks only one thing in that sense. This is this cognitive ability. The cognitive ability it lacks. But the other two it has. Omnipresence it has, omnipotence it has. Omnipotence, it just holds so many galaxies. Any possibility is in space. And when you understand consciousness, the same word will change to that actually. Any possibility is in consciousness. This is where Krishna says, everything exists in me. I am none of them. So you will say, I am none of them means he doesn't want to reduce himself to be that. So, for example, if you say CSK as a team, for example. So CSK is a larger entity. Okay, it includes all the individual players, but no individual player is CSK. So you can't reduce the totality to a small thing. Whereas sum of all these things is the totality only. In that only every possibility is happening. So when you understand space itself, in fact it is lacking one of the attributes. There itself you see that Mahakasha and Ghatakasha, they just vanish. Seamlessly they vanish. So it's just for cognition to understand. It's cognitive understanding only. So as you reach yourself, you just understand, oh God, I am that Vastu which I have been actually looking for, and I am everywhere. So the moment you understand that, you basically surpass time, you surpass space, location, everything, because your size is the totality. Your time is not defined because time is possible only when something undergoes a change. Right? At least even, how do we locate time? With the movement, relative movement of moon, earth and sun. This is what we are doing. It is the clock, simple for us. So time has to be already, identified with all this, with the help of all these things. It is a product of mind. Mind understands thoughts because mind is made of thoughts. Thoughts can understand only gross things. This is why we need location and space and time to transact in this world. Otherwise, we will be completely disoriented. You will never know where your house is located, and that will be a problem. Right? So, in the case of Jivan Bhukta, from Stula Sukshma Karana Sharira, he has all these things. The only difference between him and another person is that in his case, his mind has gotten rid of that wrong identification. His mind understands that it is a kind of tattva which is existing, which keeps changing, but it is dependent on the whole, which is oneself. So that part. So that's the main thing which happens there. Otherwise, definitely the Jivan Mukta has mind, and in fact, he has a very clear mind. Yeah, it was a long answer, but I thought I should give that. Okay. Was it clear, Reggie? Was that answer clear, Narenji?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Fine. So, if there are no more questions, I can see already we have overshot the time. We will chant Purnamada. In fact, this Purnamada, I think I explained last time also. Even if you see space, take the example of Mahakasha, Ghatakasha. So, take total space to be Purnam. Actually, consciousness is said to be Purnam. We can go to that later also. Purnamada. This space is Purnam. From that, Purnam Idam. Whatever is here is also, having its own space, right? Our body has space. Some more, some less. And every item here has space. Some more, some less. And it's finally space. So, Purnamada, Purnamidam. Actually, this is also Purna because it comes from there. And space is a seamless thing. It is a continuous entity. You cannot cut it like a cake. That's the reason that is also Purna, this is also Purna. From Purnat Purna Mudachyate. From this only this also comes. Purnasya Purnamadaya. This having come from there, what remains is Purna only. It is not like the birthday cake which is cut and which looks empty. So it is not like that. Purnasya Purnamadaya. Purnameva avashishyate. After that also what remains is Purna only. All the way through. So even with space you can kind of apply this and then understand this, because mind understands space better than consciousness. This is why it is said, no. Why mind cannot understand consciousness? It is said very clearly. A small thing cannot objectify something bigger than that. That is why na tadyam cheteyatyayam na pashyati yam na pashyati kaschana, including mind. Mind cannot objectify that self, because self is the entity in which everything else exists. That's the reason the smaller thing cannot objectify the large thing. Okay? Fine. I'll chant Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om. Have a nice day, all of you.